2016. Thank you for joining us on KTN Prime here on KTN News. Delighted to have your company wherever it is you're watching us from, here in Kenya, around Africa and beyond. My name is Sophia Wanuna. Our sign language interpreter tonight is William Sila. Let's have a look at our top stories tonight.
We shall not negotiate until the government withdraws and court issues if they want to negotiate in good faith.
No white smoke yet. Talks collapse as doctors reject deal offered by government.
We will find a solution, but please let us not allow the innocent citizen to suffer.
The government is squarely responsible for the plight of the patients.
Pressure on Afya House negotiators to reach a quick deal to end doctors' strike.
Mambo haya hajawekwa mezani bado.
Sisi tumeungana pamoja. Unaona Musalia Mudavadi amekuja hapa.
Also, Kalonzo says he's not worried as Raila and Mudavadi begin selling the Super Alliance.
We depend on Arambe, and Arambe means people coming together.
Let them not be influenced by the financial muscles which you have.
And the end of fundraisers. Churches cry foul as law stops politicians from attending Harambes. Our top story tonight. Striking doctors have now cut off any engagement with the government as talks aimed at hammering out a deal collapsed yet again. The doctors who claim the government is engaging in a cat and mouse game rejected an offer of 50,000 shillings pay increase as President Uhuru Kenyatta urged doctors to return to work. Now, the doctors walked away from the negotiating table as the Employment and Labor Relations Court ordered union officials to appear in court on Tuesday next week for disobeying a court order outlawing the strike. Here is Rita Tinina with that report.
Day 3 into the doctors' strike, which has caused death and despair, and President Uhuru Kenyatta broke his silence over the strike.
Lakini jameni, tuwe watu ambao watakuwa na huruma na maisha ya wananchi. Why should we have lost over 14, close to 20 people already? Kwa sababu sasa hata mkisikilizana yale maisha jameni mutafufua.
The president spoke in Makindu as the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union officials yet again held talks with the Ministry of Health and the Council of Governors at Afya House.
Hakuna mtu amekataa kuongea nanyi. Na tuko tayari. Na munaona tumeweka bidii for the last few days kujaribu kutafuta suluhu na suluhu itapatikana.
At Afya House, the government made an offer of an average increment of 50,000 shillings for Job Group L and M. The increment bringing the gross pay of a Job Group L medical intern from 121,000 shillings to 176,000 shillings, while that of a Job Group M medical officer from 129,000 shillings to 196,000 shillings. Job groups N, P, Q, R, S, and T were not included in the offer to union officials.
The government has been negotiating in bad faith. We came here for a meeting from the morning up to now. They're not telling us anything. They are taking us in circles.
The officials engaged with the government as the Employment and Labor Relations Court, following an application by the Council of Governors, directed the union officials to appear in court on Tuesday next week to show cause why they should not be committed to civil jail for disobeying a court order which outlawed the strike. The court order may have added flame to the fire.
And therefore we have declared that we shall not negotiate until the government withdraws and court issues if they want to negotiate in good faith.
Political and religious leaders are weighing in on the crisis, challenging the government to honor the collective bargaining agreement.
The sooner that the government gets its acts together and comes up with a package that is acceptable, the better for us.
When a government enters into an arrangement and it signs off through a negotiated process, it is only important that you live up to what you have committed.
Wiper demands that the Jubilee administration fully implements the collective bargaining agreement signed with doctors 4 years ago.
This fiasco is endangering the lives of ordinary Kenyans who have become the proverbial grass that hurts when two bulls fight.
For now.
Thank you. And as we speak, no more talks. The strike continues.
And so does the pain, anguish and despair of hundreds seeking medical attention, some of them barely hanging on to life. Rita Tinina, KTN News.
Aspirants seeking political office in next year's general election now risk being disqualified if they are found engaging in any fundraising starting midnight tonight. But as Chris Tyree reports, the political party liaison committee has accused the IEBC of plotting to lock out some aspirants, given that the financial regulations are yet to be passed by the National Assembly.
Politicians aspiring for various political positions have been crisscrossing from one fundraising event to the other, contributing funds. But with exactly 8 months to the August 8th general elections, it will now be illegal for any aspirant to participate in any fundraising, starting midnight when the regulation takes effect. The Elections Act 2011 prohibits anyone aspiring for political office from participating in fundraising 8 months before the election.
If you are a really politician and looking for votes, then let the common mwananchi judge you by the agendas you have, by your visions and your political acumen. Let them not be influenced by the financial muscles which you have.
This applies to all levels of office, from the highest, which is the presidency, to the lowest, which is member of county assembly. Although this law was also effected in the last general election, there are those who feel that the law is misplaced, especially churches, which benefit a lot from the fundraising.
Many of the churches, they don't have sponsors, so we depend much on Arambe. And also when people are sick, maybe there are some families that are not able to take care of the medication or things like that. So we depend on Arambe, and Arambe means people coming together.
We need to advise those people who have been dishing out money aimlessly, purporting to do Arambes, that the law is going to soon catch up with them.
This law was passed in the 10th Parliament after some MPs complained that their rivals were embarrassing them by contributing huge amounts of cash just before an election.
It has come at the right time, and they let people now campaign using whatever little they have without using Arambes as a way of marketing themselves or as a way of influencing votes by how much money you have given.
The aspirants are, however, free to organize a fundraising to raise money for their own campaigns or for their political parties. Midnight is also the time when the IEBC is supposed to start regulating the amount of money that may be spent by or on behalf of a candidate or party in respect of any election. But already this has met some resistance from the political parties' liaison committee.
The Election Campaign Financing Act number 42 of 2013 is a bad law, but more so it's a clear means of locking out parties and candidates in the August 2017 general elections.
Kuna regulations ambazo zilitengezwa na IEBC zikapelekwa katika bunge, bado hazijapitishwa. Zimezua utata kwa sababu ya pesa ambazo walikuwa wamependekeza zitumike na wale ambao wanagombania viti.
The National Assembly, which is already on recess till February next year, might be forced to convene a special sitting to set the regulations of the Campaign Financing Act and determine how much each aspirant can use depending on the position one is seeking in the coming general elections. Chris Dairo, KTN News.
And from that report on Harambes by Chris Tyree, we draw our big question tonight, and we're asking you, do you think the ban on Harambes will create a level playing field for all candidates? Do you think the ban on Harambes will create a level playing field for all candidates? Let us know your views tonight. You can get in touch with us on SMS 22155 or send a tweet to KTN News, KTN Kenya, or Sophia Wanuna. All right, let's move on to other news. And a day after CORD leader Raila Odinga and the Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi announced plans to work together in the National Super Alliance, CORD co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka said he will meet Raila and Mudavadi tomorrow to lay strategies of identifying a single opposition candidate to face off with President Uhuru Kenyatta. And we will have details of that story shortly on this bulletin. Meanwhile, KANU chairman Gideon Moi today sought to clarify the political differences between him and the Deputy President William Ruto, saying it is not about personality issues, but about unfulfilled promises made by the Jubilee administration. Speaking at a fundraiser in aid of women groups in Batomolio in Baringo County, Gideon told Elgeyo Marakwet Senator Kipchumba Murkomen to his face that a political leader serves the electorate and not the top leadership of the party.
Mimi ni governor kwa chama cha mashinani officially. Serikali ya Bomet ni serikali ya chama cha mashinani. Wakiwa Bomet, Jubilee ni opposition. Kwani juzi mimi nilisikia Lonyangapuo akiambiwa kama yuko sijui KANU, wewe huwezi sema huko Jubilee utapitia Jubilee. Kero, what is the problem? Hakuna haja basi. Kama utaki kura yetu basi hakuna haja bwana. Sio lazima sikia kutoka kwao. You are not going to force us to do anything. We are free Kenyans in a free country.
Tuwache kutuzi William Ruto mwenye alipigiwa kura nyingi kuliko sisi zote. Na sisi ni watu kidogo. We are junior people. Sisi masenators kama ni kidogo, governors nani. Deputy President ni moja kwa Kenya mzima. Na inafaa sisi wote tumheshimu kwa sababu heshima sio utumwa. Tunakaa kama timu moja.
Komen hata huko kwa Senate alinieleza yeye ni sycophant number 1 ya William Ruto. Kimon. Kule mimi mfanyakazi ya William Ruto. Nilishangaa kwa sababu mimi nimweleza mimi ni mfanyakazi ya wakazi ya Baringo. Mimi nashughulika tu kwa kazi ya hawa. Na kazi ya hawa hata kwa huko Marakwet. Ogot Kipsigis Nandi tugul. Tuone wamepata haki yao. Simple.
President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto will begin their 2-day tour of the Rift Valley tomorrow with a visit to Nandi and Uasin Gishu counties. As Elvis Kosgei now reports from Uasin Gishu County, there is a lot of excitement on the ground about the visit.
The presidential tour is the first in the region since the formation of Jubilee Party. A team was recently constituted to steer presidential campaigns, but is yet to hit the road in the substantially rich voter bloc.
It was a question of time, and we believe the president will schedule another trip to this particular place so that he can commission the remaining projects and even start others. Thus, I want to say tomorrow, as early as 9, I want to request the residents of Nandi to turn up in large numbers.
Watu wasifikiri tu serikali inaenda kuunda barabara yenye haina faida. Hii ni barabara ambayo inasaidia wakulima kwa uchukuzi wa miwa, kwa uchukuzi wa maziwa na uchukuzi wa mahindi siweze kufika kwenye soko kwa wakati unaofaa.
Expectations are high even among Jubilee supporters.
Akuja Eldoret sana, amekaa muda mrefu bila kuja Eldoret. Ametembea tu state lojugo Sagana, pande ya Western, na sisi tulipigia kura 95%.
Pia tutakuweza kufika katika kaunti ya Kisumu, ambaye sisi kule chini tunaenda kaunti ya Baringo, kaunti ya Kericho, na hata tufike sehemu ya Kapsabet.
Demands for better pricing for dairy and tea produce are some of the issues expected to confront the head of state and his deputy during the visit.
Sione barabara peke yake. Tutapepa nini kwa hiyo barabara kama uchumi hainawiri vile inatakiwa. Na pia ningependa hata kabla hajakuja amalize mambo ya madaktari because that is key. Basic rights are basic needs.
I'm telling you, hata sisi Uasin Gishu mimi nasema sisi afadhali kidogo. Nandi County The whole of Nandi County since independence. Barabara yenye ilikuwa hapa, my friend, ile kwenda Kisumu. There was no road. Na tumekuwa na kina Mudavadi, kina nani, yote watu wameishi kwa serikali. They think serikali is their home. They have no space. In fact, kina Uhuru na Ruto wakimaliza tunaingia. Hapa hakuna vacuum. Tumepangana kama hivi vidole. Huyu akitoka ndio hiyo inaenda, ndio hiyo, na mimi niko hapa. Si unaona mimi niko hapa, huyu.
Uhuru's visit is the third in Nandi County since he assumed office in 2013. Elvis Kosgei, KTN News, Uasin Gishu County.
You're watching KTN Prime here on KTN News. A quick reminder of our big Q tonight. We're asking you whether you think the ban on Harambes will create a level playing field for candidates. Will it create a level playing field for candidates? Tweet us, KTN News, KTN Kenya, at Sophia Wanuna, or SMS to 22155. Also on return from the break on 47 days of accountability. Tonight we focus on Narok County. And you don't want to miss it because other than raising queries on Narok County, the Auditor General also gives a thumbs up. Why is that? Find out when we return. Here now is the tweet of the day. Welcome back to KTN Prime. Indeed, tonight on 47 days of accountability, we focus on Narok County, and this is the man at the helm in that county. Samuel Oletenai is their governor. So let's look at some of the issues that the Auditor General raised in the financial year 2014-2015. In as far as healthcare is concerned, 9.19 million shillings could not be accounted for. So this is an area of concern, and as the Auditor General has raised those queries, of course, waiting for the county to respond to the same. Then there were several trips by the members of the county assembly there. One of them is a trip to Hong Kong. 3.17 million shillings was paid to Kosen Safaris. However, no explanation on how that particular company was chosen was issued. Also, another trip that members of the county assembly in Narok County undertook was to Dubai, 5.5 million shillings for 12 MCAs on a benchmarking trip. And here they were going to train about agricultural financial management. However, several issues emerged from this particular trip because there were no supporting documents of the same. Neither was there a report on their findings. And if we can move on to the next board, we'll see that there was also another trip to Uganda. On this particular one, 4.6 million Kenya shillings was spent for 18 MCAs and 13 members of staff to travel for regional events is how they described it. However, according to the queries that have been raised by the Auditor General for this particular trip, there was no clear purpose of the trip. It was not stated. The benefit of the trip as well, not ascertained, so that remains unclear. And then we have, I believe, one more board on the same domestic travel, 18.5 million shillings for travel and accommodation in Kenya, within Kenya. And these are some of the issues that were raised by the Auditor General. Next board, please. So the Auditor General says that there was no documentation on actual travel and, of course, several other issues that were raised. But before we continue, to make a note on this particular county that on many of them we've just seen queries raised. But on Narok County, the Auditor General continued to give a commendation, a thumbs up, saying in as far as their recurrent expenditure is concerned, that's money to that was allocated to the office of the governor, they were actually able to save 46 million shillings because what was allocated was 225 million shillings. Then they actually spent 182 million shillings and saved 46 million shillings. So the Auditor General in the year 2014-2015 says about Narok County, well done on that one. And that's today's focus on Narok County on 47 days of accountability. And the Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi announced plans to work together in the National Super Alliance. CODCO principal Kalonzo Musyoka said he will meet Raila and Mudavadi tomorrow to lay strategies of identifying a single opposition candidate to face off with President Uhuru Kenyatta.
On a second day of political rallies, Amani National Congress leader Musalia Mudavadi accompanied co-leader Raila Odinga to Tharaka Nithi County, where they pledged unity and resolve by the opposition to field a single candidate to face off with Jubilee's Uhuru Kenyatta.
Tumeungana pamoja. Umeona Musalia Mudavadi amekuja hapa. Sio? Na ameleta salamu ya Kalonzo Musyoka. Mnapokea? Salamu ya Moses Wetangula. Mnapokea? Tuko na wengine wanaingia katika hii muungano wetu. Wakenya wana uwezo ya kutoa Jubilee kwa utawala. Sababu ya kwanza, Jubilee ni waongo. Pili ni wezi. Tatu ni waadui wa ugatuzi.
We have a common objective ya kuhakikisha kwamba Wakenya wakolewe kutoka kwa hizi shida ambazo ni za ufisadi na watu kunyanyaswa. Na ndio kwa sababu nimesimama hapa tukisema kwamba tutazungumza na tunazungumza na tunataka hii iwe a people's movement ambayo italeta watu wote tushikane ili tuwe na proper government katika Kenya hii. Mimi nimekuwa nikitaja NASA, lakini kama mtu ana jina lingine pia anaweza leta jina lingine.
CODCO principal Kalonzo Musyoka, who chaired his Wiper Democratic Movement's National Executive Committee meeting, said talks on having a single opposition candidate were on course.
Mambo haya ni ya kindani kwa sisi wana CORD, mlengo wa CORD. Kesho nina kikao na ndugu yangu Raila, ajaribu anielezee yale ambayo walikuwa wanazungumza Laikipia, lakini nilikuwa na habari kwamba walikuwa wanasafiri pamoja. Sitaki nitoe yote mambo yetu kwa sababu ni wazi, ikimuonyesha ng'ombe kamba ata bolt ama kisu.
Mid this year, Wiper Party had demanded that CORD names its presidential flag bearer before Christmas. But the entry of Mudavadi's National Super Alliance seems to have changed the mindset.
Nothing is cast in stone. These things are delicate, my friend. We will be moving. Lakini we are very clear. Hatuwezi tukakubaliana tukae mpaka Mei ndio watu wa Kenya wajue nani atakuwa flag bearer wa CORD.
Raila eyed Kenyan youth to acquire identity cards and register as voters and vote out Jubilee. Patrick Amimo, KTN News.
Good evening and welcome to KTN Business. My name is Abi Agina. Diversified financial services company Bulletin has celebrated its 50th anniversary in Nairobi and is set its eyes on another 50 years of shaping economic development, not just in Kenya but across the region. Bulletin's group operations commenced in Kenya in 1965 with an opening of the first office in Nairobi as a foreign branch of British American Insurance Company Limited, headquartered in the Bahamas. A local company was incorporated on November 14, 1979 as British American Insurance Company, Kenya Limited under the Companies Act as private limited liability company following a government directive.
In 1997, that is when we completed the cycle of transforming the company into a composite life insurance company, or rather a composite general insurance company, by launching non-life insurance products in all the various classes.
Indeed, marking 50 years of business resilience in the region. Moving on, assessed collection by counties, brokerage fees by middlemen, transportation, storage, loading and offloading fees, and local market levies have been singled out as factors contributing to the high cost of food and food products in Kenya. This is according to a report released by the Kenya Markets Trust. The research was conducted in 12 counties focusing on livestock, maize, milk, vegetables and fish products.
Following the establishment of the county government in 2013,
several counties have resorted to levying local taxes on domestic agricultural trade to raise revenue to complement budget allocation from the national government. There has been concern that if cess collection is not harmonized across counties, can increase the cost of doing business across different counties in Kenya.
One thing that we noticed about how cess is charged across different counties also is that some counties will charge per kilo, some will charge per bag, and some will charge per lorry.
According to the report, counties need to work together to ensure that local county levy taxes do not discourage investment.
Well, we apologize for the quality of the sound, which will be fixed. And logistics solutions company Signon Group has announced plans for regional expansion and diversification in 2017 with a focus on expanding its cargo handling service into Ethiopia after the completion of the Isiolo-Moyale Road. The company also announced plans to take advantage of other emerging developments in the transport sector with the coming of the standard gauge railway project, which is projected to further boost the capacity of cargo handling through the port of Mombasa.
Signon Group, we don't really see negative impact on SGR on our business. Like I said, Signon is a logistics company. We move cargo by all modes of transport. We move by air, by sea, by road, and by rail. Remember, there is RBR today. So SGR is just rail. It's one mode of transportation. So we see a lot of opportunities around SGR. And basically, we will be able even to move some of our cargo by rail if it is if the pricing is right.
Well, the Kenya Dairy Board is working to sensitize Kenyans on milk consumption ahead of the Christmas festivities. Dairy farming is currently known to contribute 4.5% to the country's GDP and is a source of livelihood for approximately 1.5 million smallholder households. With the partnership between Standard Media Group, the Kenya Dairy Board will visit destinations around Nairobi, creating awareness and showing simple techniques to aid Kenyans in healthy consumption of milk. Some of the key areas of attention through the roadshow to consumers and producers is the poor and inefficient dairy practices that cause health problems.
We recommend that the milk that people consume must be pasteurized. Pasteurization means subjecting milk to a specified temperature for a specified time frame.
70% of milk is unprocessed, is within the informal trade. So the initiatives that the Kenya Dairy Board is undertaking, both to foster the sector as well as to protect the consumer.
In sports news tonight, day 4 of the East Africa Interparliamentary Games have given Kenyan MPs something to celebrate after winning most of their ties. And as Moses Wahisi reports, apart from bagging the golf title, Kenya won its volleyball tie and soccer match against Tanzania.
Kenya dominant force in the 7th edition of the East Africa Interparliamentary Games was evident in day 4 of the action, which was highlighted by the soccer match against Tanzania. In an end-to-end action, Kenya's Raymond Okwiri missed a penalty that would have given the home side a win. Bunge FC pressed on, and again Stephen Ngata missed a scoring chance, the second spot kick hitting the post. Okwiri amended his earlier error by notching in the winning goal with 2 minutes left before the final whistle.
Mwaka huu kikombe hiki ambacho kimetuhepa miaka mingi, miaka 7 sasa, tutakuwa tunatoa ushindi. Manake nimeona timu ile ambayo tuko nayo, tuko na wachezaji stadi sana, tuko na strikers wazuri, defense tuko sawa, na pia niwaambie wa Kenya kwamba tuko imara kiwanjani, tuko imara kule mashinani, tuko imara kila pahali.
Na michezo inapewa umuhimu kwa sababu michezo ndio shughuli pekee duniani ukiondoa dini ambayo inawaunganisha wananchi.
The home favorites had an easy ride against their Tanzanian counterparts in the volleyball tie, securing 2-0 win in sets of 25-16 and 25-22.
We have met good teams. Overall, the standard of volleyball is good. Volleyball is a lovely game. We can play it and enjoy it whether we win or lose.
Golf was also spicy, with Kenya taking the title ahead of Uganda and Team Iala. It is 4 days down and 3 more days to go in the Interparliamentary East African Games. And in tomorrow's action, the Kenyan men's volleyball team and also the Kenyan women's volleyball team are expected to star in the semi-finals of tomorrow's action. Moses Wahisi, KTN Sports.
Since its inception in 1997, kart racing has gained a lot of popularity in Kenya, with several tracks being established countrywide to help nurture young drivers. Among them is a GP karting racing circuit located here in Nairobi.
The Langata GP karting racing circuit was opened in 1997 to provide a platform for young drivers to nurture their talent and also learn their craft. Here you will find drivers as young as 5 years old perfecting their skills on the track. More than 200 sports and motor enthusiasts flock the karting tracks every week to experience the thrill and also participate in various races during the day and even under floodlights.
We organize for trainings where we can train the children to become quicker, now to take it not like a hobby, now take this seriously.
Karting is commonly perceived as a stepping stone to the higher ranks of motorsports. Some of the world's best drivers like 7-time Formula One world champion Michael Schumacher, Lewis Hamilton, Nico Rosberg, and even Kenyan Tejas Hirani started karting at a very young age. Cars vary widely in speed and some can exceed up to 260 kilometers per hour, while recreational go-karts intended for the general public are limited to lower speeds.
Now you can have a taste of what Hamilton got to ride in, which is 50cc. You can nurture a child through the proper standards that were set aside in the world of motorsport. So we do try and encourage people to graduate. Yeah.
Although it needs full concentration to maneuver the small kart across the track, the sport can also be used as a way of relaxing. Abdullah Ahmed, KTN Sports.
Right, before we wrap up tonight, we just want to quickly remind you of BQ. We had asked you whether you think a ban on Harambes will create a level playing field for all candidates. Here's some of what you're saying. Sami Peru, it should, but it will not happen because elections are about who has more money. Jeremiah Karaoke, you say the ban will help only and only if there is fairness in the implementing and monitoring of the same. Dr. Eki Ete, no, some candidates will still look for other alternatives to outperform their fellows. And Brian Nyakwadha, you say absolutely, the ban bars cash splurgers for whatever reasons to toe the line of integrity. And finally, Boni Mumo Mwas, you say kweli mambo ya pesa na harambe haitaisha hata kama ni usiku. Well, on that note, we wrap up KTN Prime on behalf of the team that made the bulletin possible. It was great having you keep us company. Enjoy the rest of your viewing. I'm Sophia Wanuna. Have a good night.